Bonjour. It's Wednesday, last week of May. Anyways, so I pulled some cards. I didn't read them yet. So I don't know, man. Basically, I was trying to speed up the video process, but then I felt like, oh, it's just like doesn't feel right to like not process on the camera. So this is why I repost it double time so that when I talk, it sounds like faster. Anyways, because we're all busy people. So I don't know why I rolled my eyes about that. Okay, so I pulled tarot first, 2 cards, Page of Cups upright, and then the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. From that, I gathered that we're talking regarding the Holy Spirit. Okay, so we're not talking about a physical, we're talking about an air being in connection to the water. Okay, and then I pulled my cards, and it's 4, 3, warehousing as a profession, Secret Life of Bees in reverse. I'm advised to pause there. I do have 2 more cards, but I'm going to process these 4 first. So 4, 3 looks like a home regarding 3 individuals. Okay. But then the third being, I'm thinking about the Trinity, and regarding the Trinity, it involves the Holy Spirit. Okay. So it looks to be a masculine and a feminine. And then warehousing. Well, this is where it could be subjective, but because I'm doing the reading, this is how I'm reading it, right? So the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I'm not contesting that idea offensively, right? It is confusing because like a marriage would involve a woman and a man, right? And these terms are based off translations. Okay, but it's hard to fathom the neglect of a sacred feminine in the dynamics of a family to then bring living. Just, you know? So like that's how when I think of Trinity, I'm thinking of a man and a woman in connection to a God, a sacred marriage, to then be eligible to give life of their next generation, to, you know what I mean? Like to have a child. Okay. I'm not trying, this is not political. This is not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying how I see this. This is how I see this. But in very... That was a lot that I had in my thoughts just now. Okay. But so what I'm saying is how I see this in a Trinity, it involves a man and a woman in a God presence as a covering, in agreement for a covenant, not a masculine and the masculine's next generation without the woman present. Okay, so moving on. Okay, moving on. That process, I don't know what they're talking about there. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're talking about there. But in my context of how I see a Trinity, it involves a man and a... Dang, it sounds political, but you know what? Like, anyways, I'm going to move on because that was just one version. I was just thinking out loud. One process here, 4, 3. So foundationally, it involves a sacred marriage that, dang it, I didn't okay, and I don't mean I am not. So here's the thing. Here's the trick of it, okay? Because these cards, yeah, I'm okay to show you these cards, okay? These ones here, right? The up front, guide is saying, we're not talking about, maybe this is for me, like God is telling me specifically, we are not talking about a man and a woman specifically. Like, God really wants me to express that here. We are not talking about, like, because I maybe, me and my personal view of it, I'm just like, but like, 1 + 1 = 2. Like, man plus woman equals giving birth. Like, conception, giving birth. Like, that's how I'm seeing it. But guidance is like straight up, before I read the other cards, is telling me, darling, this is not matter. We're not talking about matter. We're talking about the Holy Spirit. Okay, so we're identifying the masculine energy and the feminine energy. We're not talking about the woman and the man. Okay, so I'm going to be obedient here and relay the message in attempts to not complicate things with just my personal view of, like, but math and science. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. So the Holy Spirit, okay, in 2 forms, okay, a masculine energy and a feminine energy, okay, and that's the foundation here, number 4, okay, and then 3 being the Trinity, the covenant of the marriage between a masculine energy and a feminine energy, okay. Okay, got it. Okay, so this is where I'm hearing New Age, and I'm hearing, no, I didn't hear New Age. I heard New Age, but then I was thinking New World. Okay, so just distinction here. My thought pattern says New World. The message says New Age. There must be a distinction here because, right? Like, there's me as a person, and then the message that's instructed to flow through me. So just, I really need to, you know what I mean? Because semantics, translations, right? Like, there's a whole Bible, and these religions are saying, right, that the Trinity does not involve a woman. And I'm personally triggered because I'm a woman. But even if I wasn't, because I would be a child of a woman, I would be triggered. That's fair, right? But that's the reading for me. That's where I'm triggered. That does not mean that guide is triggered. Okay. Whew, needed to say that. Okay. So, whew, okay. Next up is warehousing. What is this about? Warehousing. Where? I need to look up etymology of where. Sorry. Ish. We're doing this for efficiency and clarity and genuine transparency here. We don't want to misread messages. That's anyways, sorry. It's not necessary to say. Okay, so define where. W-A-R. If you take the E out, it means war, but is that relevant? I don't know. Articles offered for sale. Pottery, typically that are specified type. Manufactured articles of a specified type. Crystal, ware. Define pottery. I'm sorry. Ish. That was compulsive. Okay, so pots, dishes, articles, earthenware, baked clay, stoneware. Got it. Anytime I see stone, I'm like, okay, got it. Okay, so stone housing. So kind of like Jesus was a carpenter, kind of like the square and the compass. Not kind of. This is what we're talking about. So we're talking about someone's building a maison. Maison being in French, you know, that means house. Okay, a house. So, but maison, take the I out. Anyways. So there's a sacred process of building a foundation. Like a church. It would be a church, especially when the Trinity is here. It's a place in what, oh, I was just thinking this. The church. A place where marriages are made. Okay, so Okay, so next up is Secret Life of Bees. Bees are like the worker. No, they're not. Okay, so there's a queen, so there's a matriarch. And okay, but it's in reverse. So it's like the followers of the queen were just like, love you, see you, never. Like, yeesh. Okay, so it looks like this maison was once the queen's dwelling. But then something happened where that got switched up. I feel like I triggered someone. I think they're like, oh shit, what did, ooh. Okay, and then 7 Pounds is in reverse. 7 Pounds is the movie where this man was suicidal because he lost his family. I don't want to make it up, but I think maybe a car accident or something like that. He lost his family. He had a wife and a child. I don't remember the age. I don't know. Something like that. Okay. So, but something happened. They passed away. So he's a depressed man. Very lonely. And he was suicidal. He was like, he wants to exit and he wants to be with his family in spirit. So what he decided to do was, well, with his body, he can donate his organs to people. So he went on a mission to meet people who were on the wait list for organ donation so that they can live their lives. I don't know how he got that information. I'm sure that's classified, but I don't know, classified is not the correct term, but you know, like that should be private information. But anyways, he got that and he picked people. He met them randomly and then he became like relatively close to them to like learn if they're of good character. And when he decided that they were of good character, he would specifically put, I don't know, like, is it the will that he put in his will or something like that? Whoo! Eat of my flesh. That's sacrifice. He became a sacrifice. He willingly wanted to become a sacrifice so that he could be with his family in spirit. But anyway, ooh. So he got a bunch of, I don't know if it was a bunch or a few, I don't know. He got a few jellyfish. He very creative. Like he's obviously smart. But he went ahead and so okay, in his will or something like it, whatever that is, he put in his will who he wanted the medical team to donate his organs to once he passed away. Okay? So he did that. That's there. That's documented. And then he got jellyfish. The sting. No, is it jellyfish or the stingrays? I don't know. Like the ones that shock, you know, like if they touch the person, then they're in shock and they, you know, they could pass because it's like shock. Like, anyways, I found, I'm smart sometimes. Like, anyways, sorry. Most times, I hope. Anyways, so yeah, so he went ahead and went in a tub with shark fit. I don't know. What is this thing called? Jellyfish. Jellyfish that sting. We don't need to Google this. You know, and obviously it's not, no one needs to do that. So it's maybe good that I'm not recalling this accurately. Basically, he got in a bathtub with these water beings that once they touch him, he's just burnt. Like he's not toast, like he died in the water because he got stung repeatedly by those animals that he decided to put in the tub with him. Okay? Yeesh. So that's what he did. Comfortably, in peace, calmly just did that. And then he passed away. They got him on the table and they took out the organs that he requested to be placed to his inherent friends. Okay? So 7 pounds being, I guess that's how much weight of the organs there was. I don't know. So, and maybe he picked 7 people up. Ooh. All the organs, the 7 organs. Oh my goodness. Wow. The actor was Will Smith. He be making these real movies, man. He be in them real movies. But wow. Ooh. Sorry. That's intense. He wanted to be with his family in spirit. And he sacrificed his body to those who still want to live. Wow. I'm sorry. It's just oh my goodness. I need to pause here, and this is probably why I'm regarded not to get to these two yet, because there is something that's coming to mind where I was really trying to generally I'm sorry if this is a ramble, but I had an interesting moment meeting someone where it felt like they were kind of asking me my belief on things to determine if they were going to hire me, like and they asked me a specific question about like how I felt about do I want to say this on YouTube? It's just that like yeah, like they asked me how I felt about gender changes and like sex orientation. And this was a belief-based group, okay? And I've already, listen, we don't need to make this video about me, right? But I thought that was very interesting and honestly kind of scary in many ways. It's scary in many ways, right? But it had me thinking a lot about things regarding like surrogacy, about same-sex families, and just all that. And it's kind of like I'm still trying to figure it out. But something in me is just like, but people still need to live. Like whatever it is, right? Like whatever it is, whatever orientation, whatever inkling or like severe feeling an individual has that they feel like they need to be presenting as a different gender or whatever, people still need to live. And even in the event that there are, say there's like a 2-man family, right? No woman is there, but they want to be parents to a child, be foster parents, adopt a child, whatever. It's still the fact that these people need to live. And it's thank you for being here. You know what I mean? Like, thank you, parents who want to be parents. Thank you, children who want to live. Like, it's still the fact, like, whatever it is, whether, and I think there's a thing of a spiritual attachment where now it's, say an individual identifies as they because they identify with both genders, or there's a feeling of being neutral, feeling whole, right? An individual feels whole and they encompass themselves on both presenting energies. And so in that way, they are, how it looks to me is that they do look balanced, specifically in the event that there's no dependency on medical care on a consistent basis. Sorry. You know? So in the event that an individual feels whole, or they're literally born whole, they're not just one, like they are both. They're already essentially married and in covenant with their God. They're fully balanced in both energies. I don't mean to say, like, I'm thinking out loud. I'm just a lady on the YouTube with, you know what I mean? Let me be. When it looks like that, like, spirit is living. Thank you. That's how it looks. And I don't know if I'm making it very clear in my stance or like my opinion. I'm just like literally thinking out loud. Because like this may be in contrast to a religious person who feels like if a person is born one gender, they should stay one gender, and if a person is one gender, then they should be attracted to the other gender who is only one gender. Like they, you know what I mean? And it's just like things are more complicated than that. And I feel like maybe in general, as like basic level knowledge, I think we really kind of need to do a better, not kind of, like I think we all need to do a better job of identifying energies, feminine and masculine and balanced energies. And that it's more complicated now. It is the new age, it is the new world, and we have to like meet people where they are now because they are more advanced. They're more advanced. That's just how I'm sorry. Right? Because like there is a shaken part of me that's just like concerned about people being manipulated to want to switch teams, or you know what I mean? People being influenced to actually prefer something that maybe is not genuinely their preference. Like there was a triggered part of me that's just like, what is the manipulation going on? And there was a triggered part in me thinking like, well, like if my bloodline needs to live on, I need to be with a man to get pregnant, to have a child, so that my ancestors come back. That's my thinking. And then I'm just like triggered because like the concept of depending on a bit of intensive medical care to intervene seems offending because boundaries and and like possible manipulation of that process. Sorry. And also the concern of like, what does that look like if where's the next generation if people are not procreating, right? However, am I thinking too small? Like, was I thinking too small and being triggered thinking that there's no other way that life can live on? And guide response is in agreement that I was thinking too small. And I'm hearing exactly. So thinking in the process out loud, I think generally we need to really incorporate the conversation and the consideration of masculine, feminine, and neutral energies that are influencing individual sexual orientation and gender identity. Baseline, we really need to just kind of appreciate the significance of spirit influencing individuals. Like that's genuinely where the word psychology comes from, is the study of spirit. You know what I mean? And it's just like, now for whatever reason people were offended, you know what I mean, because it's spooky or some shit that we can conceive spirit. We can literally conceive spirit and we can literally perceive spirit. So I think baseline 1, and then 2, maybe generally humans kind of just need to think bigger. Like just kind of need to think bigger. I understand it's to someone's advantage that like people can be dumb and like unknowing and like too scared to perceive something or whatever. But I think like in this new time, baseline, we all have to broaden our awareness, like literally to live. Because if it's not manipulated, preference changes, and it's genuine preference changes, there's absolutely something to what's the word? Like, there's absolutely something to accommodate this new change and the general preference. You know what I mean? Like, there is a new process here. There is a new process. And Guide is saying, darling, we are not talking about physical right now. We're talking about spirit first. Manifestation happens in the physical, right? So this is a new, and it's not in the physical yet, but it will be, right? So it's just like, maybe that is that is hell. That was hell. It was hell to feel like you needed to die to live again. Like for ancestors to be waiting in line to be born again through their next generation because like they didn't do it right the first time. But in the event that your preference changes, your will to live is stronger. I'm sorry, right? Because now you actually have to finish your timeline. You can't just bow out and come back in 200 years later. Like, you have to actually do it in this time frame, which would be longer. And then we ask ourselves, why are the 50-year-olds looking like they're 20? Let's just like come on now. I'm sorry. It was just a lot. This is a lot. Woo. Okay. There's another thing. There's another component here. But I'm guided to go ahead and finish these 2 cards here. Okay. So Jarhead in reverse. Ooh. Okay. In this movie, I don't remember all of it. I don't remember. I'm sure there's some details that I don't remember. But from what I remember, it was this man in the military, right? The army specifically. And I believe he was like in a serious relationship. And I think basically like while he went on deployment and stuff, I think just generally his career field was more combat based. So he was probably like away a lot. This is like early 2000s. So it's not like there was a draft. He wasn't there just because like the government told him every man at 18 needed to go in the world. Like, he elected to join the military. I think this is very important. Oh my goodness. I'm not trying to get political, but this is, this is what's coming up right now. This is very important narrative regarding Jarhead here. That man, this is what was told to me. Because I was in the military for a time. So, sorry. Something told me I didn't want to actually tell you guys that. Sorry, I'm just kind of like, I don't like to hide stuff. So, with me, I was talking to someone, you know, feels weird, feel different. Maybe I'm in a different, you know, it's not really what I saw for myself, but I did it because I was encouraged to do it and I chose to do it, blah, blah, blah. Right? And the person told me, Haley May, you chose to join, like you enlisted and you signed a contract that said you would join the military for this amount of years. Like, no one forced you. No one forced you. You just did it. You know, that's what they told me. I mean, and in a nicer way. Even that way was nice. But, you know, and this is what's coming up here for this person in Jarhead who was in a committed relationship to someone, to a girl or a woman who didn't choose to join the military, right? She didn't join. She's happy being her natural feminine self. He joined, right? Because in his timeline, he was encouraged to do so. Like, I can make assumptions. We can all like make assumptions. He was not typical, but he was American white man. And he was masculine. And he wanted to defend his country. Like, sorry. Like, that's what he wanted to do. Whether it's brainwashing, whether it's manipulation, whether it's just like tradition, he opted to join the military, where at any time, like, he could go somewhere, get hurt, and like not live. That's right. We know that, right? So he went out and did it. He was gone. She was there in America, happy and whatever, but she definitely cheated on him and he was sad. Like, that was the thing. And he was like depressed, like he's holding on to this idea of a relationship with her. because that's what he has. That's literally kind of the only thing he has. It's based on freedom. Like, he's wherever they tell him to go is where he goes. So, right? So it's just like the only thing that he can choose is her. And so he's kind of like clinging on to this relationship. But she's a free woman and she can date who she wants to date, and she doesn't have to be with a man who's always away. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, she did cheat, but like, you know what I mean? It's complicated. Maybe she was just trying to keep his spirits high. You know what I mean? Like, dang. But anyways, I think that's really all I can remember from the movie. I don't really remember the ending or anything like that. But I think the thing that was supposed to be triggered, and for me saying this in this video, is that this man elected himself. Like, he enlisted in the military himself, and he chose to do it. I think that's significant, because we were just talking about 7 pounds here, who is a man who sacrificed himself and donated his organs to other people when he chose to end his life. Okay, so there is a significant portion here where we're talking about self-sacrifice, and self-sacrifice can be in different means. Like, we could say a single woman who has 2 children. Dang it, I didn't mean to say specifically 2 children. This is interesting. A single mother doesn't have to be 2 children, right? But like, she didn't go to school, right? She may work 3 jobs. Okay, she probably doesn't have friends because she doesn't have the time. Like, her waking hours are wake up at 4 or 5 a.m., make breakfast, make lunch, prepare for dinner, do all the laundry, get them up, get them ready, take them to school, go to work, blah, 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 work, get her ass home, clean and make food, care about them, go to bed, do it all over again. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's a sacrifice, because what is she doing for herself? What is she doing for herself? All the dreams that she had, all the inklings and all the assignments that she was maybe supposed to do in her life, it's kind of like on hold. Every single thing was at that time on hold because she decided to have children for a man that she was in a committed relationship with. And now she's kind of a slave to her commitments, hoping that her next generation will have more freedoms to do some great work. You know, like something important. Do something important in their life. That's just her hope. That's just her hope. Okay. So there are a lot of people that are self-sacrificing. You know what I mean? But maybe that's the point, is at what point can you just like live for you now? And for you, where you have your direct communication with your guide, and at that point you evolve to get to that stage where you've done everything that you were supposed to do, that you are now graduated. Like, you don't even need to necessarily guide anyone else, because that stage as well, like that stage of being someone's guide spiritually, right? Or even physically, but spiritually, you on assignment, always in tune to someone on the plane, kind of telling them, coaching them through, and hoping that they trust you, and hoping they don't disrespect you. And you know what I mean? Just kind of dependent on the will of this person who could be very ignorant a lot of the time. That's kind of despair. Like, the guys are just like, please hear me. Like, please, like, wake up. Please stop being too busy. Like, please just do what we committed ourselves to do. Like, please stop being busy. Care about what Spirit is telling you. Can you honor the Holy Spirit? Like, can you give a shit? Can you give a shit for 2 seconds? Like, please. That stage of being dependent on the student for generations can be tiring, right? And can like be infuriating and be very upsetting, and just like, that's why there is a marriage. Like, that is why, like, trust in the Holy Spirit. Like, be guided, like, please, you know what I mean? And so in that way, I value the tradition and the religion's base of like valuing this, because it's just like people be getting lost, being ignorant, choosing not to hear, choosing not to feel, choosing not to be guided, because it's just like, what family, what lineage, you know what I mean? It's just like they kind of think, well, busy. They prefer to be busy. You know what I mean? Sorry. I don't know if this is clear. But anyways, the next card is Moon. I'm hearing cycles. I'm hearing new cycle. Okay. Okay, so this is direct streaming now. Essentially, guidance is saying individuals will be faced with two choices. Okay, let's not stop it. Let's not stop. Okay, I'm gonna let it flow. Okay, well, what it said is get to choose to live forever. Sorry, I'm putting this on YouTube. Okay, sorry. Let it flow. Let it flow. Guidance is saying live forever, or die at their mercy. Really? Okay, sorry. I'm letting it flow. Okay, die at the mercy of witchcraft. Guidance is dead serious. Okay. And if I can like try to present this in the way that it doesn't sound wild, is just like things can be classified as witchcraft. There's lots of millions of tiny little details that can be just determined as witchcraft. And honestly, everything in the grocery store once upon a time would be considered witchcraft. Can I just say that and move on? Let's just say that and move on. Okay. We bought it. Everything at any store. And you know why? It's because like, what? An amazing product? That's witchcraft. You know what I mean? Because now you're competing with a person who used to have all the answers for you. That's all. Anyone who becomes a bit enlightened on some chemical process, some physical process, some intellectual process, anyone who like figured out something, you know what I mean? It needed to go through a normalized, a vetted process so that it wasn't a fraud, right? So then witchcraft is like, how do you know this amazing thing, or are you a scammer? Like, are you a true healer? Are you truly here to like, are you in the group, or are you a fraud? You know what I mean? Like, that's all. Simply put. But guidance is saying witchcraft as far as, hold on. The intent. Oh, shit. Okay. So the intent is to make people slaves in a new form. So if someone has we're just kind of skipping over basic level, like, do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe, you know what I mean? We're kind of skipping over the basic level, like, philosophy and theories of concept. Like, we're just kind of, we're on some other topics now, okay? Now that we've graduated those topics, in the event that someone has your will, say you have this agency over yourself, right? But then there's a person that's trying to intercept here between your willpower and the thing that can be the higher, greater force that can be agreement with you to like grant your wishes. Okay? So say you have wishes, and assuming you have strong belief and strong communication and direct communication from this very intelligent force that can guide you on what you need to do to make your wishes come true. Okay? So say there's a direct communication, but there's like a person that, listen, a witch is not every woman who has a tattoo and has black cats, and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, stop. But someone who knows the process of direction is trying to intervene. For what reason? For manipulation. Okay, so in the event that they're trying to intervene between your communication from your greater self or from this great force, okay, and they're just like, wait, you need a covering. Let me just stop you right there. Hold on. Let's counsel for a second. Let's figure out what's going on before you get your ass confident enough to talk to God. Wait, right? And they stop you right there. Okay? Now you're this person with a, you're a human person, okay? Whatever. So in the event that you remember all your dreams, you remember all the codes you got from your God. You're trying to make it happen, but you're thinking, wait, someone's intervened. Let me talk to the intervener, because you have some basic level of trust for this person. This person is now making contracts to you and saying, like, if you want this to happen, you need to pay me this. If you want this, I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me, whoever's watching. Like, sorry. Okay? I gotta do what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so if you want this to happen, then you need to sign a contract that says that this will also happen. You know what I mean? They're intervening so that things are more complicated. Because now they're making attachments with you that now you're their puppet. Right? Okay? Simply put. So in the event that you have all these strings now based off of contracts, agreements, and things that make it complicated for you to just live your dream because you let someone get in the way of your communication with God. Okay? So in the event that happens, now they have your destiny. Like, they're managing your destiny. Okay? In the event that they're managing your destiny, say you're tired, you had to work because you signed contracts, you know what I mean? You just need a break. You just want a second and you just want to pause. Okay, I'm going to try and talk fast because phone storage. So we're saying there's an intervention who's trying to be intercepting between you and your God, okay? So for whatever reason, they've gained trust with you to do so. Now you have contracts and stuff like that. You look like a puppet. Sorry. I don't mean to say you specifically. And listen, I am talking to a mirror camera. So there's that. So you look like a puppet. You got tired because you worked your ass off to try and do the things you said you're going to do in these contracts. Okay? Fun. So now you're just like, you need a rest. You need a break. You lay down for a long time and you kind of want to just pass away. So say they pass away. Your spirit's like, okay, but we'll just come back alive. Next generation, it's going to be fine. But darling, do you have a child? I'm sorry. Like, do we want to complicate it and be like, you can be born in any family at any time, like anywhere around the world, anywhere, because your lineage is connected to all these other lineages and blah, blah, blah. We can say that. But like, do you have a child? Like, do you have direct, because I can make the assumption, I think it's a valid assumption if we are using these beliefs of reincarnation or whatever, or even in going to heaven, like, you know what I mean? In the event that you needed to come back here to complete your will, to complete your dreams, and to do your great work, okay? And I'm saying this on a broad term, the term, you know what I mean? So say you have a will and your spirit is urging you to get it done. Now, what proof did you leave behind to remember your track? And I can make the assumption that you'll have a more accurate navigation system if you are in literally you have the same DNA that you were from, right? Because if you're trying to switch up and now you're competing with all these other spirits for this one person that's going to get born in the next 40 minutes, like, who has the ticket to get there? It's probably someone who is in that direct communication line of, you know what I mean? Like, in their family lineage. I'm sorry. Like, please don't be mad at me. I'm not telling you what to believe, darling. I'm just having my video on YouTube that I'm guided to make. Thank you. Cool. Okay. So with that being said, that's why it was looking triggering. Like, okay, surrogate, like you're paying to have a child through another woman that's not in your family. That's what you want. That's what we want to do. Now, doctors be making a lot of money for that. That's what we want to do. Now, you're dependent on that whole process, right? But it's just like, fine. People need to live. People need to live. And there's probably a great chance that there'll be more involved for it. Right? I don't know how. And that's not, I can be ignorant that way. That's fine. But it's just like, anyway, I went on a tangent. What was my point before that? Oh, that's what I'm saying. If it's sparse, then if the generation upcoming or the generations upcoming are a little bit less of a population variety, okay? And what, like, if in the event that the generations upcoming are not as large, right? And it's just like less likely that people are having children, like in a natural way of a man and woman coming together and being in a healthy state to physically give birth. Okay, so in the event that that was a thing, then it's just like the individual, I don't want to say you. So there's an individual here who signed a bunch of contracts there, but they have some spiritual contracts that they need to fulfill. So they need to come back. If there's not a human body to fulfill, will they opt for a sentient robot? Like, I'm not joking. Don't act like this is weird. Y'all seen the new robots out here. Stop it. Like, it's a thing, you know? Or you want to be some app that people can use online, you know what I mean? Like some and sentient, do we want to say it? Like, I don't know, is it sentient? I don't know, you know what I mean? I guess what I'm saying is, if it's not a human, is it an animal? You want to be someone's pet? Like, you finish your contract out being, I'm not trying to laugh, like, the spirit needs to come be somewhere. The spirit needs to live. So if there's an intervention between direct conversation with your God to get your guidance, someone saying, well, you signed these contracts, darling, what are you gonna do? You want to lay to rest? You're gonna come back? What are you gonna come back and do? Who can you be at this point? If the humans are not an option, are you someone's pet? Like, are you basically a slave? I'm not saying that a pet is a slave, but the slave would be dependent on a master, right? To live, to eat, to sleep, like literally for shelter, be dependent, okay? And it's possible that someone wants a pool of people who are under some conditions of which they're dependent on a master. Okay, when we say that, we say that, we say that. Okay, cool. I said it, I'm good. Cool. Okay, so that's the new cycle. So again, I don't want to say this again, but I'm just going to confirm if there's anything else that I needed to convey in the video. Okay, no. Thankfully, I had enough. I can manage the storage to just get out those few next moments of chatting. Yeah, I feel good about that. I'm so thankful to be protected and safe, because that was some wild shit that just got said, right? It's not shit, but I mean, but anyways, happy Mahdi. Love you. Okay.